Right, it's time now to talk to the government. Delighted to say that we're joined by the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, the Cabinet Minister, Pat McFadden. A very good morning to you, Minister. Thanks for joining us. First up, we wanted to get your reaction to Sam Washington's exclusive interview with Mark Carney this morning. Here is an extract of him talking about the UK's decision to grant Donald Trump a second state visit.
I'll be frank, they weren't impressed by that gesture. Quite simply, given the circumstance. It was at a time when we were being quite clear, some of us were being quite clear about the issues around sovereignty. I was not yet Prime Minister, but I was being clear on the campaign trail, and it cut across some of those messages.
Is that a bit rich of the new Prime Minister from Canada to say that when I guess the UK has been quite clearly supporting Canada over the last couple of months?
No, I wouldn't say that. Look, we're very pleased that there's going to be a second state visit from President Trump. Every country has to decide how it conducts its own relations with other countries. For us, the United States relationship is really important. It's a very long friendship. We've conducted a very good deal with the United States just last week, which has saved thousands of jobs in the UK automotive industry. I'm a West Midlands MP. The automotive industry, companies like Jaguar Land Rover, absolutely crucial to the economy in my region. So we want a positive relationship with the United States to sell them great products like Range Rovers and so on. So every country has to choose its own path. But I should also say our relationship and friendship with Canada is really important too. My wife's Canadian. We're partly Canadian family. It's a really important friendship between the United Kingdom and Canada too.
Are you not disappointed then that Mr. Carney criticised you for that offer to President Trump?
No, we've got free speech in the world. Prime Minister Carney is entitled to his view, and he's got to decide how Canada conducts its relationships with the United States. And by the same token, so do we. So I'm completely relaxed about the comments, but I'm glad that President Trump is coming on a state visit, and I'm particularly glad that we've conducted a trade deal that saves thousands of automotive jobs in this country and is a platform for future trade which can benefit the United Kingdom economically more in the future too.
Last question on this. I don't want to ask if your wife would share his point of view, but can you understand Carney's point of view on this?
Look, I think the relationship between Canada and the United States is slightly different. It's so close there. Anyone familiar with Canada will know that. There's a lot of cross-border trade and traffic. It's a very integrated economy. I think the comments about the 51st state have not gone down well in Canada, and that's understandable. Canada's a fiercely proud, independent nation. So I understand why Canadians feel as they do. But as I said, every country has to conduct its own relationships with the United States and any other country as it sees fit.
Obviously, you're joining us from Manchester. The reason being you're moving a huge number of jobs, government jobs, to regions around the UK, out of London. Why are you doing that?
Well, it's a great opportunity. I believe that the civil service needs to change in a number of ways. I want to have a civil service which has a footprint, if you like, in different parts of the country. I don't believe all the jobs, particularly all the senior jobs, have to be located in central London. I also want to open up the recruitment. We're announcing a new apprenticeship programme to get school leavers into the civil service. I want to see a civil service that's contributing economically to cities like Manchester, Glasgow, Aberdeen, different places around the country. There's always been some civil service jobs outside London, perhaps in the odd HMRC office here and there and so on. What we're doing is bringing them together into themed campuses where we can really get a deep possession of skills, for example, IT and tech here in Manchester. And I think it's a great opportunity. Let's look forward to a civil service that speaks with all the accents of the country, not just one, that opens up its recruitment to people from different backgrounds, and that can give the opportunity of good jobs and career progression to people without always having to move to central London if they get promoted. That's what we want to do, and that's part of what we're announcing today.
Clearly, costs are lower outside of London, and so are wages. If an existing member of the civil service moves with the same job, do they have to take a pay cut, or is it only lower wages for new hires in those regions?
Well, they might lose their London waiting, but they probably benefit from cheaper property prices. I think the career opportunities for working in a good civil service job somewhere here in Manchester or a similar city are really good. But you're right that cost savings are part of this. We estimate that we will save £94 million on leasing costs by reducing the headcount in London by about 12,000 over the next few years. So we can pay less for property in somewhere like Manchester than we do in London. We can have good jobs here. And what I also want to see, and this is an important point of this, is career progression. One of the things civil servants have said to us is, well, maybe I can get a job there, but I can't get promoted. I can't climb the ladder. So my direction and my instruction to the civil service is make sure you have a career path where someone can get promoted when they're working outside London, not just get an entry-level job too.
I know your Cabinet Office colleague, Nick Thomas-Symonds, has been working hard on the new terms of trade and all things with the EU. Some talk that Gibraltar or EU youth mobility have thrown a little bit of a spanner in the works there. Are we still set for an announcement on May the 19th?
We've got an important meeting coming up on May the 19th, and if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, we've conducted a trade deal with India. We've conducted the trade deal we spoke about a moment ago with the United States, and we think we can improve the agreement with the European Union too. Some of these things have been talked about for years, but they haven't been achieved. But we've achieved two really important deals in the last couple of weeks, and we think we can make improvements to the European deal too. You're right, my colleague Nick Thomas-Symonds leads on this. He's working really hard. And if we get a better arrangement with the European Union, then we'll see economic benefits from that, just as we will from the deal we've conducted with the United States and the one with India too.
Obviously, the deal with the US is a sort of first step. Is what you're going to announce next week with the EU a full-fledged, fully agreed deal?
Not yet, because we're still working on it. And I think, you know, all these things are ongoing, but the May the 19th meeting focuses minds. It gives us a deadline to work to. I think that helps in these negotiations. So I'm hoping that we'll see improvements to the Brexit deal we negotiated a few years ago that make life a bit easier for British business, that make life a bit easier for our exporters, and that give us an economic boost, because that's what we need.
Just finally, if I can quickly, when you look back on the immigration announcement, do you think there's lessons to learn on exactly the wording, the rhetoric that was used?
I think we should focus on the policy. And, you know, my reflection on the past few days is immigration's contributed a huge amount to the UK. It will in the future. But I think the public wants a sense of rules around it. That's what the Prime Minister was speaking about. But the UK will always be home to people of talent from around the globe. That's done us good. It will continue to do us good in the future. But let's have a proper sense of rules around it. And I think that's the better way to conduct the policy. And that's at the heart of the immigration white paper that the government published a couple of days ago.